Hello, my name is Jamaica Frazier Jackson, and I am here to talk about my stillbirth experience. It will be 7 years, October 9th, since I gave birth to my sweet angel, Nyla Imani Jackson. I wanted to do this for quite some time. I've been contemplating whether or not to do it. Didn't know really just how to just start. It was just always, I just kept putting it off for some reason. And lately it's just been something that's just been tugging on me, saying, hey, tell your story. It could help so many other women. And so I'm listening, and I am gonna tell my story. It's gonna be like in parts because it is long. I just want to kind of give you like some background information. So yeah, I gave birth to Nyla when I was 21 weeks. Background information: I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which pretty much is the reason why I was infertile. So I had to have assistance with getting pregnant. My husband and I did initially try to have a baby on our own, but after we saw that it was not happening, went to the doctor, had some tests ran, and they said, hey, yeah, this is what you have, and we can give you some medicine to try to get everything worked out or to assist you with getting pregnant. So they prescribed me metformin because with PCOS, you are like insulin resistant. So metformin is like a drug they give to diabetics. So they put me on metformin, and they gave me Clomid. Clomid was the fertility drug. So we only had to do one round of Clomid, and I was able to get pregnant after the first round. Thank God. I did not have any major issues or complications that I can remember while being pregnant. I think that everything was kind of smooth. It was very smooth, actually. So for me to have to experience a stillbirth was kind of just like not really sure what's going on. But anyway, so got pregnant. Pregnancy was going well. Found out what we were having when I was 18 weeks. Found out that it was a little girl. So at that point, I think on that day, I went out, started buying like all the onesies and everything you could think of for the little girl. So then like the following week, we came up with a name, and we agreed on Nyla Imani Jackson. I've just loved that name, and so I said, well, that's going to be her name. So a few weeks later, October 9th, that morning, I think I was off that day, and I woke up, had to go to the restroom, and when I wiped, something told me to just look at the tissue, and so I did, and I saw my mucus plug. So I called my mama. I always call my mom before I call the doctor, just habit. So I called my mama, and I said, Mama, I think I've lost my mucus plug. And she said, well, hold on, I'm on my way. So she came right over. I saved it so she could see it. And she was like, yeah, that looks like what it is. And maybe about 15 minutes after she got there, I started to experience the worst pain ever. Like, contractions were so real. So I called my doctor, and I told him, I said, hey, I think I lost my mucus plug, and I'm in, a lot of pain, might be contractions. I think I need to be seen. And so the nurse was like, well, yeah, you're still too early to be losing your mucus plug. It could be something else. Take some Tylenol. We can fit you in around 1 o'clock. So I'm like, okay. So the pain is getting worse. And my mom was like, yep, come on, let's go. So we ended up going ahead and going to the doctor. Waited in the waiting room for about 10-15 minutes, and while I'm sitting there, I am in the worst pain ever, like holding on to the chair, just like something has got to shake. So they called my name finally. The lady put me in the chair, and as she was doing the ultrasound, she could see, and she did a vaginal ultrasound, and the baby's head was already down, like she's ready to come out. And when she pulled pulled it out, it was just full of blood. So she immediately called, for them to bring me a wheelchair because I was pretty much in active labor. So when I get to the room, the labor and delivery room, they didn't initially put me in the bed. The nurse took me into the bathroom, asked a series of questions about, was I in an abusive relationship? Did I try to harm myself? Just a lot of questions. I'm not sure if that's like standard protocol when something like this happens. I'm not sure because this was my first time, but it was just like a bit much for me. And so my mom came into the bathroom and was like, hey, she's in so much pain. Stop the questions. Y'all need to give her some medicine. So they did finally get me in the bed, but they said that they could not administer any medicine until my doctor came. So my doctor came maybe like 5 minutes later, and I mean, I'm still in so much pain, just blood just everywhere. And, he looks in and he sees, the baby's head pretty much, and gives him the okay to go ahead and give me some medicine. And I never forget, he just comes up to me, grabs my hand and looks at me. He says, I'm sorry, you're about to have this baby, and I don't think that she's going to make it. And at that moment, I just turned over in like the fetal position, held on to the rail of the bed, and just started crying. And the medicine went through me so fast, it's like I almost got numb, like the pain was gone. It's just like I felt like I took a nap or something. It felt like I was asleep for like an hour or two, but I don't think it was that long. I just remember as I was laying there having the urge to do the number 2. And I told my mom, I was like, Mama, I think I need to go to the bathroom. It feels like I have to poop. And as soon as I said that, I had the urge to push, and I delivered Nyla. And Nyla was still in the sac. They said that the cause was that my placenta abrupted. Now, still not sure like what's going on, but yeah, delivered Nyla. She was still in the sac, and I remember them asking me, do you want to see her? Do you want to hold her? And I could not bring myself to look at her. I do regret it now, especially when I see pictures of other moms that have taken photos with their babies and holding their fingers and things like that. But at that moment, in that state that I was in, I just could not look at her. I just could not process the fact that I just gave birth to a child that I cannot bring home with me. I'm still just like, what is going on? What is wrong with me? What did I do? What could I have done? I'm just blaming myself, just asking all kinds of questions, just pretty much just crying. And I just could not stop crying. I know my mom looked at her. When my dad came in the room, he was still not aware of what was really going on. And I remember him coming in the room and he was just like, where's my grandbaby? And my mom just pointed, and they had her on the table up under the light. And I just remember his head going down. And at the time, my husband was working out of town, so he was still making his way to me. So as they get ready to get Nyla and take her to I don't think they initially took her to the morgue, but I could be wrong, but I know they took her to some room because they put her on like a little gown because they had like a photo shoot. So they took her to some room. But while they were taking Nyla out, they came in, had to record like the time of death and ask me all kinds of questions. And I'm just crying so bad to where I couldn't even fill out the paperwork. Like, I think the tears was just coming out, and I just could not really process what was going on. So as I'm still trying to fill out the paperwork, my husband came in, and they asked him, did he want to see her? And he said yes. And he asked me, do you want to see her? I was like, no, they already asked me. I don't think I could do it. So he went ahead and went to go see her. So when he came back, they said, well, we need to get you a room. We're not going to give you a room on the maternal on the maternal floor because we don't want anything to trigger you. We don't want the sounds of the babies or seeing pregnant women, trigger you. So we're just going to put you into a general area of the hospital. So I was like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. So they get me to a room. I think I stayed there for 2 nights. Yes, I stayed there for 2 nights. And I just remember like the first night laying in the bed crying. No appetite, just crying myself to sleep. And then the next morning, because my husband, he did stay the night, I remember telling him, I need you to go back to the apartment. Anything that we have that's baby related, clothes, onesies, anything, take it back to the store that we got it from. I don't want it. I did not want anything that would make me think about this. I just didn't. Like, I wanted everything to be gone by the time that I got home, because I just did not want those triggers. The only thing that I did keep, which I'm glad I kept, was a memory book, which had like the first sonogram pictures that we took, stuff like about mommy and daddy, and you know, things like that. That's the only thing I think that I kept. So on the day that I was getting ready to get discharged, the nurse came in and asked if we wanted to have a burial or if we wanted to have her cremated. And we agreed to just go ahead and have Nyla cremated. That way we could bring her home with us and we wouldn't have to really deal with a funeral, burial, and all of that stuff. So filled out the paperwork and paid the money at that time to proceed with getting her cremated. They let us know which funeral home was going to have her, and it was a funeral home that we were familiar with, one that was close by the area that we lived in. And like I said, I gave birth to her on October 9th, 2012. They cremated her October 11th. I went to go and pick her up. They had her in like a little white box. They had like the name of the funeral home, the date that she passed, the date of cremation, and like her identification number. And brought her home. I think the same day I went ahead and ordered an urn, because I did not have one, because I was like, she's no way she's gonna stay in that box. Like, she has to have something pretty. So got an urn for her. I think it came like for like a week, maybe sooner, but got her a nice little urn for her to rest peacefully in. And that is how that all happened. When I also got discharged, they gave me like a little a box, and the box contained her handprint, her footprint. It contained the gown that she wore when they did like the pictures. Had a nice little blanket as well that I guess they sat her in. Had like a little ring that they put around like her toe. They had a tape measure because they did do her measurements. And it also had a CD with her pictures because they did a little photo shoot. And speaking of the CD, it took me a month to look at that. So a month after I had Nyla, I finally got up enough courage to put the disc in and look at her pictures. And that was so emotional. Just to see like the little human being, and like I could already start to see like little features of her, and she was just so little. It just did something to me. It brought back memories, but it also put me at ease. I know that might sound crazy, but looking at those pictures just put me at ease. I mean, the way she was just resting so peacefully. I don't know. It's just, God has a funny way of making you see things, you know. And yes, I am a believer. And so I did still question, God, why did this happen? Why me? What did I do wrong? You know, I had so many questions. although I know God makes no mistakes, I'm still human. I still wanted answers. But you know, everything happens for a reason. Although it's been almost 7 years, I still think about her daily. I talk about her to Kaylin, my 5-year-old daughter. I talk to her about, I tell Kaylin about her. But you know, she's just not, I'm gonna always think about her. You know, it's like, that's my firstborn, you know, that's my baby. It's like the first round of medicine worked to get me pregnant, and you know, and it was like I would feel like I was halfway there, and then for that to just be taken away from me, it was unreal. And so back then in 2012, I did not know anyone that had experienced a stillbirth, did not know anyone that I could really talk to about this. I mean, of course, people would try to reach out and give words of encouragement, but it's just like when you haven't like really been through it, it's just difficult to find the words to say, you know. And I think what got me a lot was that a lot of people would say stuff like, "Oh, you're young, you can have another one." Yeah, I am young, but you don't know what I went through to get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't know what I'm going through internally. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just because on the outside you see that I'm young, you assume that I'm just fertile myrtle. Nope, not fertile myrtle. No, not at all. Like, I needed some help. So like I said, I think this is just gonna be part 1, because I do want to discuss how it was when I finally got home, how that was. Went through depression for quite some time, and I still have things that trigger that. So I want to talk about like when I got home, when I finally went back to work, and when people saw me, it was like, "Oh, you've had the baby," and they just had no clue of what happened. I also want to talk about getting the okay to start trying to conceive again. You know, all the testing that I had to go through. I remember, I think I had one sitting where I had to do blood work, and it was like 16 or 17 vials of blood that they had to take, and that was just a lot. So yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the process of trying to conceive with Kaylin, the medicine we had to take to get that process started, what I had to go through to ensure that she could remain in my belly for as long as possible. So yeah, it's just a process. Like, once you have a stillborn child, like, that's just not the end of the journey. It's just not. Because you're gonna always think about that child, because I mean, that's your baby. You know, you carried that child, you had a connection with that child. So it's not just like, okay, I've lost a child, that's it. No, it's something that you just have to live with for the rest of your life. But I mean, some days are better than others. Like I said, even though it's almost been 7 years for me, I still think about it. I still think about like how she could have been. You know, it's just like a lot of things that just go through my head, and I'll sometimes just pop in the disc just to look at her pictures and just to see if I can see just like little features or whatever of like her and Kayla. I know that might sound crazy, but you know, I just do, because that's still my baby. So yeah, like I said, I think this is just going to be an ongoing, I guess you can say, series. I don't know. I'll try to do the next part tomorrow or the day after, depending on how I feel, because I do have a cold and just have not been feeling that well. But yeah, I just wanted to, make this video to hopefully encourage other women who are going through this, have been through this, or know someone that is going through this, to let them know that you're not alone. I know for so long I just suffered in silence, just covered it up, just making it seem like I was okay when I was just dying on the inside, you know. It was just like no book that I could read that could help me put together what was really going on. So I hope that by doing this video and doing other videos that it will just help you, you know, let you know that you are not alone, and that you can have your rainbow baby, you know. It's still possible. I mean, it's gonna be like a journey. Definitely it is going to be a journey, but it is so worth it, so worth it. So I just hope that these videos encourage you. Don't give up. God makes no mistakes. He knows exactly what he is doing. He has equipped you to handle this, and you'll be fine. You will be just fine. Like, it's not going to be easy. I still have my days where I'm just like, okay, get it together. But you'll be okay. So like I said, hopefully I will try to do the next video tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on how I feel. Because right now I'm just kind of like over this cold thing. But anyway, hope you guys have a great evening. Yeah, hope you have a great evening. Bye.